Every brand tells a story. And they are the storytellers. The Sutradhars. They present a brand with band, baja and barat to you. They are the Brandwallahs. He heads marketing for one of India's leading private general insurance company, Shekhar Saurabh, head of marketing at Tata AIG. Saurabh has been instrumental in launching emotionally resonant ad campaigns at Tata AIG like With You Like Family, With You Always, which aims to shift the perception of health insurance from a transactional necessity to a heartfelt promise of care and protection. With previous stints at Godrej Consumer Products and GSK Consumer Healthcare, Saurabh's expertise includes market research, competitive analysis, strategy formulation, brand management, product innovation, and digital marketing. He is our Brandwallah. Hello and welcome. You're watching Brandwallahs. I'm Krishnakumar and we are in conversation with Mr. Shekhar Saurabh, Chief Marketing Officer of Tata AIG.
So for me, there are 2 to 3 levels of challenges here. It's not just, let's say, a regulation per se, but it also comes at a consumer lens. FMCG, you know, a soap is a soap. What's going to do to you? But here, let's say in insurance, what tends to happen that people are not aware that, how this category is going to benefit them. They are not so much sure about the nitty-gritty of it, the micro detailing of it, the macro part of it.
They've heard of it.
They've heard of it. They would have just listened about it somewhere at some place. But then again, in minor detail, you will see that at micro level, things do sort of get little differentiated. And that's, I think, is a major chunk. How do you sort of convince a consumer who is not aware of too much in detail about the category, about your brand, about your product, and that's where a lot of work happens.
Yeah, that's what I want to ask. First is the challenge to convince the consumer that you need insurance. And the second is that they should buy your insurance.
The way we are approaching it as Tata AIG, that we want to create a distinctive identity for our brands. When I say distinctive identity, you look at the insurance category, in particular the non-life insurance. What you will see that people normally come, they will talk about a certain benefit and they will crack a joke. So let's say, do your policy has that, does your policy has this, here is a joke, please buy my policy. We have gone completely away from that route and we are saying that no. Insurance means a lot to the consumer. If he or she is spending almost 50k, 60k, 70k, that kind of money on you, he's just looking at it beyond insurance. When I speak to the consumers, they say that, insurance is like my big brother. I look at them the way I look at my family members, the way I look at my father or my grandpa. Whenever something used to happen there, I used to believe in my childhood that my grandpa will take care of me or my father will take care of me. Likewise, insurance, I have that kind of feeling, that kind of emotion. It's like family to me. And that's exactly why you see the campaign which we have launched, with you like family, with you always. It exactly just echoes that sentiment that, in times of need, I will be there for you. It's Tata AIG, you can trust on us, we will be there for you to help you out. And that's what the entire campaign is all about. It's not about a funny joke. It's not about, cracking a joke or cracking a benefit. All those things are there for sure. But the important thing is, that we are there with you like family, most importantly in times of need.
We're having this conversation about convincing people to buy insurance at a time when those who are looking to buy insurance or already bought insurance are complaining about the rising insurance premiums. Tell us, in this environment when people are wondering whether to renew their insurance policies or not, many are also opting out as well. How do you convince people to come in, buy insurance and stay insured?
There are 2 parts to it. If you look at it, the entire ecosystem is working towards it. How to ensure that the insurance premium stays down. If you look at insurance premium, ultimately it's a function of something at the base, which is called hospital bill cost. You pay premium to cover for that. Now imagine a situation, if a hospital bill cost goes up, by default your premium will go up. So what is happening, the entire ecosystem, what I mean that government and the insurance company, they have come together and they are talking to the hospitals in terms of ensuring that how do we sort of control the cost. Like, how can, like, we are pretty much aware, we have expertise here, we have the experts here who can go and talk and have that kind of conversation. Government is pushing us to do that. Like, they are with us, behind us, to ensure that the rising costs stay down and hence the premium stays down. So that's like, I think one or two things that we are trying to do. Apart from that, if you look at it, like, there are multiple kinds of policies which are coming. Like, typically what tends to happen that earlier, let's say if there is one policy, it will have multiple benefits which you might not even need. But then why not have something which you want and then pay the price for the same? So that's how, like, there are multiple ways in which the entire industry is working towards to ensure that, like, how to bring the premium down as much as possible.
Any particular campaign that you've worked on that you think just totally hit the nail on the head when it comes to marketing insurance?
I remember very vividly the campaign of Sir Utha Ke Jio from HDFC. Like, it was a beautiful campaign. Like, the way I remember it, again, very, very on emotion. Like, not what everyone is doing at that point of time. A boy who was coming from train, like, suddenly he fell. The child, the father, the grandpa just stood there and he wanted to ensure that, like, he stands on his own. Very, very emotional campaign, right on the hit on the nail, saying that, okay, you don't have to just, it's not just about the cost and, let's say, the price and everything. It's also in the life. Like, you have to get up in life on your own, and likewise, like, you have the insurance, it's going to support you in a similar kind of fashion. So that's something that I loved in the insurance category here in India.
So, okay, that's a category, but any particular campaign that you've worked on here that you think totally did justice to the brief?
Campaign which we just launched, like, with you, like family with you always. Let me tell you a little bit of story behind that. Like, when I was talking to the consumers, one of the things which suddenly struck to me was that, imagine when Krishna, you were a child, like, a 4-year-old, when you were growing up. At that point of time, when you were growing, everyone was coming and just patting on your back that good job Krishna, you hit a 6, or let's say good job Krishna, you have a great handwriting. When you become a 9-year-old, 10-year-old, like, teachers used to say you that good job beta, like, here is 90 by 100, 100 by 100, excellent. Like, you're getting a lot of appreciation from everywhere. When you went to college, like, again, good job beta, like good college, very good college, you have gotten into good college. First job, good job beta. Suddenly when you're married and like you are into the other side of it, you have a wife at home. That phase, like, at 28, 29, 30, that phase suddenly changes everything for you. Like, you have a wife at home who says that, like, you are spending not good enough time with me. You are spending time with your mom and all, you're not listening to me. You have a mom who says that you are listening to your wife, you're not listening to me. Typical Indian household. You have a boss who says that you are not doing a good job. You have a reporter who is saying that you are not promoting me. Like, from everywhere you are expected to deliver something. Suddenly, like, since childhood till now, everyone was patting you, and then suddenly right now you see that everyone wants you to deliver something. Like, everyone has expectation from you.
You just encapsulated middle class life so beautifully.
Absolutely. So, and that's what I realized, that this is what actually my consumer is going through. Like, you need someone to tell him that, dude, you are doing good. Like, you are fighting for your life. You're just trying to maintain everything in your life, and you are doing a good job out there. And that's what you will see, that, like, that's what we are trying to move towards to.
What is your all-time favorite advertisement or brand campaign or marketing initiative that sort of stayed with you and that continues to inspire you in your work even today?
For me, it's Vodafone. Earlier it was called Hutch. If you remember Hutch Puppy, the moment I say this word to you, like, you are smiling, the smile at your face, you remember a baby boy and a puppy following him, right?
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of the campaign, right? Like, and that's something I feel has inspired me a lot, like, in terms of my thinking. See, advertising ultimately works in creating memory structures in your brain. Like, what's one thing which you sort of immediately, if I say to you, remember, or let's say makes you feel. So any ad in past, let's say if you go 10 years back, 5 years back, your brain sort of stores that ad in the form of an image. Like, that's the shortcut of the brain. And when you sort of dig deep, it opens the videos, like, that, okay, what was actually happening. Like, the way I spoke to you about that ad, you had just imagined in your head for a fraction of a moment that, okay, what was happening there. So that's how the brain works, right? So a great campaign, what they should do, or what it does, that, like, it just goes and sort of stores a paper in your brain saying that this is what's happening there in just one image format. And that's what exactly that ad
did. An image file stored in your head.
Stored in your head, and whenever you want to open it, you can open it.
What, according to you, is the big buzz as far as the world of advertising and marketing is concerned?
For me, it's the evolution of tech, if you ask me. Advertisement, what 10 years before it used to be, it's exactly not right now. And I'm really fear the way the tech has evolved in the last 3 years.
Right.
If I used to tell...
They also say the job of the CMO has also evolved quite a lot in the last 10 years. It has been a sea change in what is expected of the average chief marketing officer.
Absolutely, absolutely. Suddenly, if you just talk to anyone within the team will come to you that how are you using AI? How are you using tech? How are you using Gen AI? Are they part of my campaign? And that's exactly the things are evolving. So let's stick to this topic, let's say AI. What it was, the way it developed, the AI developed from 2015 to let's say 2020 to 2023. That in 3-4 years, the development which happened, if you look at the development of last 1 year, it's phenomenal. Really phenomenal. The chat GPT of the world, or let's say the co-pilot of the world, all these guys, suddenly they have come in, and there are so many AI kind of tools which have just suddenly come up, and they are really useful. If you start using them, you will see them that they can make your life really easy, whether from copywriting, whether from image creation, whether from design, even creating proper videos. It's just there. The thing is that you have to learn to make use of it and customize it according to your need. And it's just growing. It's growing like this. And
we are at the age of DeepSeek and more.
I think we are in that part, the higher curve part. The deep part is gone already, and like you were saying, DeepSeek and also all the tools, they are just coming and extrapolating it.
And that's completely transforming marketing as well, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Okay. Then tell us, what according to you is overhyped in the world of advertising and marketing? Too much is made about it, but it's not what it's made it out to be, and hence is quite blah.
Yeah. So for me, if you look at one thing, I've been seeing and hearing it a lot, the over simplification and over hyper targeting. I mean, that's one thing which I believe is, I think, way too much. If you look at consumers, most of the consumers in a certain particular geography have a similar kind of need. Of course, customization is needed, but then if you go hyper customization, then what you are saying that you are unnecessarily ladening your resources with creating multiple tools, multiple creatives, which I think is not needed. At the end of it, consumers are same, their psychography is same. If you are going hyper customization, then the marketer has not done a good job in finding what consumer need is. Unless if you have figured that out, if you have figured out certain emotional needs, see, at the end of it, more often than not, consumers buy experiences. It's not just about a certain product or benefit. You don't go to McD just to buy a burger. You go there to have a happy time, happy moment with someone nearby, or maybe for yourself you want to feel good about it. You don't go to Starbucks just to have a coffee. It's far more than that. So if you have figured that piece out, I think that's good enough, and hence I feel that the moment you go for hyper customization or hyper personalization, look at the big brands. They have not been built that way. The hyper customization, hyper individual ads.
AI-driven personalization, many call is the future of marketing. So, but you're saying the fact that it's also about understanding the consumer, but also it's come to the fact that you have studied psychology in your long time ago, and if that's helping you sort of understand consumer psychology a lot.
Absolutely. I believe all the marketers should have definitely some course in that stream because it helps you understand your consumers. Suddenly you look at your consumer from a different lens. You can see what tends to happen. People need something and they want something. There's a difference between the two, need and want. They will do something and they will need something. They want to do something and something else is good for them. Likewise, let's say if you speak to your boss, for instance, I'm giving an example. Your boss might tell you to do something, but there might be something else which sort of will be driving him to tell you that, okay, do this. The important thing is you understand the why behind that, and in understanding that, this psychology just helps a lot. How human behavior function, what humans say, why they say at certain point of time. It just helps a lot to sort of clarify things up.
Okay, fantastic. what is the one thing about your job that you love the most? The one thing that you wake up every morning and that pushes you to come to office, that makes you happy to be at your job?
For me, it's the consumers. So look at the category. So insurance is a category which is there to protect you. And then look at the marketing. Marketing is all about the consumers. So actually here in marketing at insurance, both of them actually come together simultaneously, where actually you are able to do something for the consumer, something right. When you wake up in the morning, you feel that okay, you are something right for the audience who is sort of whom you are trying to target, and that gives a lot of peace of mind. I think that's something that I love about my job here, and which no other industry can actually give.
Would you say that the selling insurance gives you greater job satisfaction than selling fast-moving consumer goods?
Both of them have a different to-do. Here what tends to happen that suddenly you are being able to provide financial stability to someone. You got a different pride into it. That you are ensuring that someone's family is getting taken care of. It's a different pride, different feeling suddenly, that you are doing something right for the consumer. Nothing can beat that.
What is the one thing then that you absolutely, for the lack of a better word, hate about your job? The one thing that you don't like about your job as somebody who heads marketing?
So what tends to happen that within marketing, broadly marketing is seen as some people say that it's a brand marketing, some people say that it's a performance marketing, but actually it's a combination of the two, and both of them go hand in hand. Several times what you will see that some people, or let's say someone who doesn't have too much exposure to it, they will say that okay, now that you have run a campaign, where is the sales lift? They will just come and talk to you. Someone in your team will suddenly, one of your colleague will come and say that okay, you have spent X crores of rupee, am I getting 5X crore of delta or not? So that kind of conversation suddenly takes things differently, or it takes a different route. It's a brand campaign which is sort of going to give you ROI in a very, very long run, right? Mid-run to long run. It's not a performance campaign which will sort of, because you have pumped in money, it's a separate kind of campaign. It will give you a certain, so that's not how it works. You are building trust, you are building that mental availability inside the brain of your consumer in a certain way, and it's going to yield output slowly and gradually over a period of time.
So what do you do when somebody comes and says, where is the delta? Do you tell them that then you start giving them a breakdown of how exactly brand versus performance marketing is?
I tell them a simple thing, that go home, stay peaceful. I can ensure that your job will gradually become easier. The selling insurance will become peaceful for you.
These days, the consumers who are aware, at least, when they're trying to choose an insurance policy, they're told to look at a metric called CSR, which is the claim settlement ratio. You see an insurance provider with a high claim settlement ratio, then you're safer in the hands of that, because of course settlement of claims is the big debating point over here. But tell us, when it comes to your marketing campaigns, do you also prominently put your claim settlement ratio or CSR?
That's one thing which I have taken a call that I don't want to talk about, predominantly because what tends to happen that there are multiple kinds of terms and terminologies which consumers may or may not understand.
Okay.
Now imagine something even if someone has not been paid anything and his file is closed, technically even that's also called a settled claim, okay, without something getting paid.
Okay.
So I'm saying that we don't want to bombard the consumers with all the numbers and the data and everything. Of course, if you want to have a look at the number, just go and look at the IRDA website. All those things are just mentioned there. We don't have to report that. So those things are available publicly.
The insurance regulator has it on their website.
Yeah, the government is doing a great job out there. What we as as an industry do, or what we are trying to do here, that we are just trying to tell them or convince them, like your first question, the one that you are trying to say, that how do we educate them? How do we ensure that they go and buy insurance? What's the relevance of the insurance in their life?
And you don't want to educate them about CSR?
No, of course.
Because you think it's irrelevant?
Of course, it's very relevant, very important. But then again, having said that, do you want to tell them in an ad or in a communication?
Okay.
So that's something that...
so it's important they understand what is claim settlement ratio,
absolutely,
but that doesn't exactly feature as prominently on your marketing campaign.
Yes. It may not feature, so it can feature in multiple other collaterals.
Tell us, where do you see, insurance marketing going in the next, say, 2 to 5 years?
So I will give you one data point. So insurance is the most costliest search term on Google whenever you go and bid for it. better than, higher than any FMCG, higher than any banks, higher than any cards. Like it's the most costliest term out there.
What do you mean by costliest?
So let's say whenever you want to, someone is typing buy insurance or insurance, just the insurance on Google, you'll see a lot of ads out there, right? To feature on that ad, like you pay the highest amount compared to any category, like any
product and any service.
Any product, any service, any category, any airlines, anything, any hotel, like just it's the highest. Like it's much higher than almost 4x to 5x of what the second highest will be. It's that huge. So the expense, or let's say the marketing expense on insurance are gonna rise. It's gonna be rise. Like in fact, it's one of the highest spending category in multiple other countries. Like let's say. In USA and in developed countries and all, it will be featured among top 2 or top 3 categories to where marketing expense go. So that way it's going to happen, and the transition is happening already in some of the countries in Southeast Asia and all. You might see happening it soon in India.
Also tell us, what is the future of marketing per se at a time when AI is evolving with every passing day, generative AI and other forms of AI as well. How do you think it will reshape the way marketing exists in the future?
First of all, this is a very, very fast evolving space, right? And you as a marketer need to be well equipped to understand that, like, how it's shaping and where it's shaping. Secondly, to your point, like, that how it's going to disrupt this category, how it's going to disrupt the marketing. Actually, it's going to aid the marketing, like, it's going to make you stronger. So imagine you are doing something. So for instance, a very live example maybe I can give you. Let's say if you were suddenly a brief comes to you that, okay, why not let's launch this campaign? Let's say let's create these assets. In that case, what do you do? Like, one thing is, of course, like you go a traditional route of briefing your agency, doing stuff out there. But let's say if you know all the right set of tools within AI, you can create an ad within 1 hour or 2 hours if you know it. And that too a video ad I'm talking about. Like,
I'm fascinated. Before you go any further, can you tell us, how do you use AI currently on a day-to-day basis when it comes to creating a marketing campaign? What do you do today? Let's talk. Forget about the future. In what all ways do you use AI?
For me, like a couple of things which sort of stand out very, very quickly is like, how do you create the designs? So let's say there is a certain designs template which are already going into the market. I can use AI to sort of create something which is much, much more distinctive than that, and which is going to appeal to the consumers in a certain way. Like, how do sort of, because insurance has a lot of information to be given in a certain frame, how do you ensure that, like, you get a design which is sort of very, very distinctive, unique in your language, but at the same time is also conveying the points that you want to convey. So that's something actually AI can help you. If you sort of try and play it out with it, it will sort of give you that kind of template design, the typography in which so that it becomes easier for consumers to comprehend, because there are tools and techniques already fed into it who can do that job for you. So earlier, what used to happen that you create a design, you go into consumer and then test it. Now that part is already fed in the background. So that becomes, your job becomes much more easier. It's just that you should know how to use it.
Okay, and in the eternal debate of brand versus performance marketing, where do you stand?
I believe both of them has to go hand in hand. Like, there is no one side to it. Like, a brand is more like a long-term game that you are playing, right? And performance is more short-term. Like, just look at all the D2C companies out there. Like, there are many D2C companies who will do a certain performance campaign and suddenly they will become a certain kind of conversion, and yes, that they have built a brand. But have they really built a brand? A brand is much more than, like, what you have just made a purchase right now. A purchase is just a transaction. But a brand is a memory in your brain. Like, how many of D2C brands have been able to create memory in your brain? And that's something that we need to think about. Like, it's not just like, I have gone and because I saw something, I bought a t-shirt from Facebook or Insta. It's about, even I remember the brand name, let's say what they actually stand for when I am sitting idle or whenever I'm thinking something.
Right.
The Vodafone campaign that I talked to you about, it can give you a certain kind of smile, certain kind of a memory. If I tell you little, like, you certain imagery of a girl washing up, like having bath in the waterfall. If I tell you Dhara Jalebi, you'll imagine, like, a baby talking about jalebi. Like, it takes you a certain space. Brands are like that, like, several nodes of memory structure who are doing things in a certain way. Versus, let's say, like, just performance, which is nothing but just a transaction. Right. That transaction becomes easier if your brand is strong. So that's where it sort of merges, and hence both of them are needed and they go hand in hand.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Shekhar Saurabh, thank you so much for being with us here on the Brandwallahs.
Thanks, Krishna. Thanks for your time.